friends, welcome back to Amy Bakes. I'm Amy, and today we are going to be baking the ultimate Snickerdoodle cookie. Today's recipe credit goes to sallysbakingaddiction.com. Now, she doesn't call it the ultimate Snickerdoodle cookie. That's my title. She calls it the soft and thick Snickerdoodles. I really wasn't much of a Snickerdoodle fan when I first heard it, and I got one of the cookies at a bakery one time. I was thinking Snickers. So when I got the cookie, I'm like, okay, so where's the chocolate? Where's the nougat? So it's a little bit of a letdown. But then I found this recipe and I tried it, and this one converted me to being a fan of a Snickerdoodle cookie. So let's look at the supplies and ingredients we're going to need today. Our ingredients today, we're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of salt, 2 sticks of butter at room temperature, 1 1/3 cup of sugar, 1 large egg, 1 egg yolk, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then for our topping, we're just going to need granulated sugar and the cinnamon. Coming over here for our supplies, you're going to need a stand mixer with the paddle attachment. If you don't have this, then you can just use a hand mixer. You're going to need a bowl for your dry ingredients, teaspoons, measuring cups, a spatula, a dough scoop or a tablespoon, whichever you prefer, a rack to cool your cookies, a baking sheet with parchment paper, and for the topping, I'm just going to put the sugar and the cinnamon in a Ziploc baggie and just shake it up. Okay, the first step is to preheat your oven to 375, and I've got that done. And the next thing we're going to do is make our topping. And so we're going to combine the granulated sugar and the cinnamon. And I'm just going to do that. You could put it in a bowl. I'm just going to put it in a Ziploc baggie. So we're going to do 1/3 cup of sugar. I get my hands to work there. And we're going to mix that with a teaspoon. Let's see if I can pop that off in the back. There we go. Teaspoon of cinnamon. And we're just going to shake that up and set that aside. So our next step is to do our dry ingredients. On the flour, you don't want to just reach in there and then level it off like that, because you're going to get too much flour. So this one, you want to make sure that you spoon it in. So you just kind of loosen up your flour so it's not packed, and then you spoon it into your measuring cup and then level it off. So I looked online and I thought, well, what makes a Snickerdoodle a Snickerdoodle? And what I found is it's basically a sugar cookie, but it uses a different leavening agent. So your leavening agent is what makes your cookies rise and makes them soft and fluffy. A Snickerdoodle uses cream of tartar as a leavening agent, whereas a sugar cookie uses baking powder. So, and then also the cinnamon. So basically, I wondered, what could one recipe do to cookies? So I made the Snickerdoodle recipe, and then I also used the exact same recipe, but removed the cinnamon and swapped the leavening agents and tried to make a sugar cookie using the same one. And guys, it worked perfect. Delicious sugar cookies. I'll show you how they turned out in just a minute. So I'm on my 1/3 cup of flour here. So this will be the final cup of flour. So there we go. All right, so we got the flour done. And next we are going to add to that cream of tartar. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. And this is our leavening agent for the Snickerdoodle. So there's 1. It's almost time to buy some more. And not leveling that off very well. I need a deeper bottle. And there we go. And 2. All right, and next we're going to use our baking soda. And we're going to need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. cinnamon and salt. So we're going to need half a teaspoon of salt and then 1.5 of cinnamon. There's salt and 1.5 of cinnamon, and we're just going to stir this together. So, like I was saying, on the sugar cookie recipe, I made drop cookies just like you would do the Snickerdoodles, and then I chilled the dough for 20 minutes, and I also made some roll out and cut out cookies. And they turned out absolutely beautiful. So with this one recipe, with just a couple of alterations, you can actually make 3 types of cookies. You can have your Snickerdoodle. Here is my sugar cookie that was just dropped, just like the Snickerdoodle. And then I also did some rollout cookies. So I chilled the dough, and then I did these little cutouts. So 3 different types of cookies with one base dough and minor alterations. Okay, the next step is to cream your butter and your sugar. So we're going to do 2 sticks of butter and 1 1/3 cup of sugar. You know what would be really good is to use, if you have some of that vanilla sugar or the vanilla castor sugar, that would go very well in this recipe. All right, so we're going to put that in the stand mixer, and we're going to beat that on high for about 2 minutes. Okay, next we're going to add the egg yolk, and the vanilla. So we're going to crack the egg in there. There we go. And then we'll do the egg yolk. And I will separate that right here. And we're going to save this egg white because we can make meringues with that. So let's get that separated. Okay. And we need 2 teaspoons-ish of vanilla. Y'all know my rule. Measure that with your soul. So there's 1 and 2 with a little splash extra. And now we're going to cream this back together for a couple more minutes. Okay, now we're going to scrape down the beaters and the sides of the bowl. And then we're going to start adding in our dry ingredients. Okay, this recipe says to do this part while it's running on low speed, but I just find that's a little bit difficult. So it says to add your dry ingredients while running on low speed. I just turn mine off and lift the blade up a little bit. That seems to work a little bit better. And then we're going to mix this in probably in 3 different times. So if you've been following on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Amy Bakes, you'll know that my family has been sick. And so I'm a little late in getting this video out by about a week. I really wanted to have it out earlier, but the guys in my household got sick. And so my daughter and I have been tending to them and taking care of them. And so we've been making all kinds of soups. We've done a creamy chicken and wild rice soup, and we have done a baked potato soup that just hits the belly perfect, and taco soup. So if you like any of those recipes, jump on over to that Facebook page and just join the group, and they're listed there. I didn't do a video on them. I just went ahead and wrote out the recipes as I remembered how to do them. And so those recipes are there for you. With flu season coming, it's probably a really good idea to have some good soup recipes ready to go. And now we're going to do one more final addition here, and then we're going to mix this all up, and then we're ready to start baking. All right, one more time. All right, that is mixed in really good. As you can see, this is a thick dough. So we're going to go ahead and start baking these. And what we're going to do, the recipe, this will make 24 cookies. Now, when I use my scoop like this, I get a little bit more. I get about 27, but that's okay. I'm probably going to freeze part of this dough because we still have some of the sugar cookies that I made for my little experiment. So I'm just going to do 1 tray of these cookies. So I'm going to take my ring off because I'm going to get my hands in this dough, and I want to get my ring off for that. So what I do, you can either use a spoon and you can make them a little bit larger, or I use this scoop is just about perfect. And I kind of make them a little bit bigger. So you scoop your dough and then roll it in your hand. Okay. And then you're going to drop it in your cinnamon and sugar and shake it up so it gets good and covered. You can put 2 or 3 balls in here. There you go. Shake that up. And then put that on your baking sheet. And you can see that's a big cookie. So you don't have to squish it down or anything. Just go on and do the next. Okay. Now I got my hands washed, put my ring back on, and we're going to transfer these right on into the oven at 375 for 10 minutes. Okay, these have been cooking now. I actually cooked them a little bit longer. I did them about 11 or 12, actually I did 12 minutes. That looks better. Now, my son, my teenage son, who has been running a fever now for 5 days, heard me say I was going to freeze the dough. And he decided that was not a good idea and I needed to go ahead and bake off the entire recipe. So while these were cooking, I got a second tray and I got those ready to go. These are going to cool in the pan for 10 minutes. Most cookies, you don't cool that long on the actual baking sheet. So we're going to cool these while the next recipe or the next tray is in the oven baking. All right, it has been 10 minutes and now we're going to get these cookies onto the rack. Don't these cookies look absolutely amazing? They are soft and they are so, so good. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and I hope that you give this recipe a try. Either as Snickerdoodles or as sugar cookies. And what I will do is in the description, I will write the recipe as a Snickerdoodle, and then I'll also do a sugar cookie recipe with the alterations that I made. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And also join me on Facebook. So just look up Amy Bakes and join the page there. And that's a little bit more social, a little bit more interactive than YouTube is. So I've also got those soup recipes that I made for my family while they were sick, and I've just posted those there. I didn't do a video, but if you'd like to see a video demonstration of that, you can leave me a comment here or there, and I'll be happy to do that. So thanks again for watching, and right now I need to get some of these cookies to my editor-in-chief so I can convince him to get this video up even though he doesn't feel good.